students.
Correct.
A huge difference there. I want to ask Dr. Wills a question as we're thinking about the common arguments that were brought forward to support Elliott and that tend to constantly reappear when these dust-ups happen. And that is this. It goes something like this. Baptists are not a creedal people. Hobbes even said in an article he wrote in 1979, Baptists are not a creedal people, but they have, over their history, adopted confessions of faith. Dr. Wills, is this accurate, and to what extent is this a distinction or without a difference?
Yes, the progressive leaders in the SBC, those who are embracing various aspects of this liberalism, they redefined the words confession and creed to try to provide an escape from accountability to specific theological commitments in the confessions. Southern Baptists had always adopted confessions of faith from our very beginning. You can look in the oldest minute books of the oldest churches, and you will find a confession of faith right at the front of it. Our associations, as early as they formed, adopted confessions of faith. The only one that you can find in the early period of Southern Baptist life arguing against confessions is John Leland. And he was not opposed to them in principle. He just didn't think they were all that valuable. He himself joined churches and participated in associations that adopted confessions of faith, and he, at the end of the day, subscribed to them. And so we've adopted these at every level anytime we thought it was necessary. And if you're going to have a church, you're going to have an association where theology is a part of our responsibility, you've got to have a confession of faith that spells that out. Everyone has a theology, everyone has a confession, everyone has a creed. The only ones that are dangerous are the ones that won't tell you what they actually believe. And so we have to have them. In the 20th century, the progressives said that, well, we adopt confessions, but they don't mean anything except an expression of my personal faith. And so they tried to remove any sense of accountability to the community's confessional commitments by saying that we adopt confessions, all those bad people, those Presbyterians and Anglicans, they adopt creeds, which include accountability. In fact, Baptists had used these two terms interchangeably throughout our history, and when we adopted confessions of faith, we adopted them for a specific reason, which always involved some form of accountability.
Yeah, and not to mention the irony of, in the middle of a tectonic struggle over the confessional identity of the convention, to be arguing we're not confessional. Self-evidently, we are. We wouldn't be having a protracted, decades-long fight over this.
And so what happened was, as our broader Western culture privileged individualism to mean that no one can be the judge of me. I mean, how many of you have said that in a fit of frustration with someone? And recognize, I hope, that that's a wrong attitude. There are those who appropriately do judge us, and in a church, the community has the responsibility to judge our confession, especially if we are teachers. And so we sought, especially the progressives, sought to promote an idea of religious freedom and academic freedom that meant that no one can be the judge of my views except me, myself. And of course, that is a perversion of a remarkable degree.
Right, and no one can hold us confessionally accountable, and especially those who are paying our salaries can't hold us especially confessionally accountable.
And Dr. Peacock, who also is here, wrote in the Western Recorder that the most important thing for us is to understand that the Spirit leads us into all truth. So that as far as Baptist tradition goes, we follow a long tradition of people who follow the Spirit's guiding. Of course, couching that in scriptural terms makes that sound wonderful, but without a confessional guidelines, that simply means, as some of the Anabaptist traditions and others have demonstrated, whatever I want it to mean.
Yeah, Joseph Smith was led by the Spirit, ostensibly.
It was just a different spirit.
That's right. Key word, ostensibly.